Alright guys, welcome to part 2 on the 1988 Honda 200X. Last video we found out that there was a huge crack in the head, or actually a hole I should say, in the head right here. You can see it was repaired with JB Weld. I just repaired that. What happened was, if you didn't watch the last video, was the screw from the rockers right here. You can see right through there. That one came missing, it fell out, and I think I've got the old one right here. Fell out, and what it did was it got crushed in between the cam, just right here, and the surface of the head. And what happened was that pressure built up and it pushed through the head, causing that hole. So we looked, in the case for metal shreds or anything for the lost nut, but we couldn't find anything. So I think it's all good to go. There's a hole right here we repaired with JB Weld, so we should be fine. If it still leaks, we're going to order up a new head. They're around $250 to $300, which is quite a bit considering the machine. So what we're going to do today is put everything back together and attempt to start this thing up. Hopefully it runs. We're waiting on a couple parts yet. They should be here today. We're basically just worried about this spot right here. So hopefully that doesn't leak. I cleaned up the valves on the bench grinder last video using a wire brush. So the valves look pretty good. You can see those are all cleaned up. And then I cleaned off and polished the surface of the head right here. So that looks all clean. What we're going to do now is quick lap these valves in. We got a new gasket kit and we got some new valve seals for this thing. So we're just going to do these two right back here. These two are perfectly fine, no leaks whatsoever, so I'm not going to mess with them. These two need new valve seals, which I'm sure they're fine, but we're going to replace them since we have it off already. And then a lapping. So let's get right into it. Let's do that. And then take a look at the gasket kit over here. We've got top end gasket kit for it, so we can just put the head right back on. You can see this gasket is kind of rough, so it's best to replace it since we have it off. Alright, we're going to start with this valve first. Let's work on this one. We're going to designate this valve for that one. So let's put that one off to the side here. Alright, so flip this around here. Got some lapping compound here, valve grinding compound. You can get this on Amazon for like $7. Just gonna put that on the surface. And we'll lap that in. These tools are pretty cheap as well. I think they're like $6. Just gonna shove that valve through. And start lapping away. So we might have to use a smaller one here. So we'll continue this process until it's all lapped in, and we'll come back and show you guys what that looks like. Alright, all lapped up. See that metal ring around there? Matches the ring around here. Surfaces don't have any pitting anymore, so that's all set to go. On to the next one. Alright, second valve all lapped, good to go. Looks pretty good. Surface of that is all perfect. So let's get the valve compressor out and get these valves back in. Valve seals are right here. Gotta get those off. See, kind of brittle. Rub it on there. That one's done. Get that ring off there. There's the old one. Alright, that looks good. Let's start with the right one. Clips gotta go in. Alright, the head is finished up. Valves are both in. You can see on the other side. Looking pretty good. Let's get this back onto the quad. Try to get the new gasket on here. Gasket off. Alright, we got the new one. Pretty thick gasket. This should work out pretty good. Alright, let's get the head back on here. Alright, so torque specs for the Allen bolts right here and right here are 29 foot-pounds, and then same with the hex. So we're going to set this to 20 first, and then go from there. Allen, same thing. We'll get close to 29 and those will be good. All right, let's get the cam back in. I've got to do a little work to the cam. There's like a little burr on the cam over here. So I'm just gonna take a Dremel tool, and there's like just one tiny little burr right there. You can kind of see it. I'm just gonna grind that little burr off of there quick, and then we can get the cam back in and time this thing up. All right, we're at the left side of the bike here. We're gonna take these two covers off so we can do the timing. All right, let's see if we can find that timing mark. Yep. All right, we're gonna hold the chain, the timing chain up here. Make sure that's spinning. Of course, the timing chain came off the sprocket, so that's not good. We gotta get that fixed before we do anything. All right, we got it back on the sprocket here. Just hoping it doesn't fall back off. All right, so I don't think you guys can see the little marking in there. Let's see if I can see it. It's down there, it's a T though. Finally found it, there's a little rust on there. But basically what you wanna do is line up the T, and then there's two lines going horizontal on the sprocket on the back. You can see that one right there. Try to zoom in, you guys can see. There's the horizontal line right there, and then there's one right there. We're a little past the T right now, but those line up perfectly parallel to the surface of the head, and then there's a line right up here, a vertical line at the top of that, up perpendicular to the head perfectly. So there's three markings, and you have to line all those up perfectly, and then the lobes will be pointing down, so both lobes will be pointing down. And that's how you know it's in time. So we're perfect right now. We're gonna put everything back together and try to start this thing up. All right, we got the chain tensioner on right there. Timing chain is perfectly tight. Everything looks good. Let's get the valve cover back on. So this thing does not have a gasket, so we have to put some gasket maker on it. It looks like from the factory there was no gasket on it, which is very strange, but we'll just put some gasket maker on it, and that should be good to go. All right, we're gonna let that dry a little bit and then we'll crank her down. All right, plastics are kind of back on just for temporary. But we got the cover back on and the bolts all tightened up. We're gonna do a quick oil change here. I just wanna see what that filter is like in there. Take a look at the filter here. HF112 filter. Let's see if that matches up with the ones I have. There's a little spring in there too. Don't forget about that. All right, new filter, old filter. You can see exactly the same. So that's good. I already had it in stock. Goes like that. And then you can change that O-ring too in there, but it looks like it's still good. So we'll put that back in. Like that. Alright, so we're going to start out at about 1.5 quarts and then keep on checking it with the dipstick. You can see the high and low settings right here. Using Lucas Oil 10W40. Alright, we'll put another 1/2 quart and then we'll check her. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're at the high mark. So there's definitely enough oil in it. And that'll change when it goes to the head. So we're probably good right there. We'll check it again after we run it for a little bit, but for right now it's good. All right, oil change done. All right, doing the valve adjustment on these things. Valve adjustment for both intake and exhaust is 0.004 inches. Let's quick measure these. Take first. It's way too big. Still too big. Tighten that down. Perfect right there. All right, we'll do the next one just like that and continue the process all the way to the exhaust because the exhaust and the intake are both the same spec. All right, all the valves are perfectly adjusted. I double checked and everything's good. 0.004 inches once again on both the intake and exhaust. Everything's buttoned up. Let's get the spark plug back in. All right, first start attempt on this thing. Hopefully it doesn't leak oil. We've got the gas tank hooked up. See if she starts. Running. Running pretty decent. Hear a little noise in the top end. That could just be piston, a little bit of a piston slap going on, but started right up, so I think the timing is perfect. The valve should be good because it started right up, so yeah, doesn't sound too bad. So that JB weld in there is holding up so far. Let's just try to get this thing to idle now. Alright, we got it idling. Alright, getting the front plastics on, then we're going to be working on the back plastics. Alright, got the plastics back on, looking pretty good. Let's go test this thing out, take it for a rip, see if that JB weld holds up here. Stay tuned, should be pretty fun. Alright, made it out here. Let's see how she runs. Hopefully it doesn't leak any oil. We're all good to go. Alright, let's get the GoPro on and take her for a little rip here. Alright, first ride on the 250X from 1988. Let's see here, gas, we want probably reserve here. There's a reverse on this thing I just noticed, which is pretty cool. That's the reverse lever. We'll have to check that out too. Make sure everything runs, works. Alright, let's start her up. See if she starts up. I put a little kill switch on here because it was missing a kill switch. So it needs to be in the off position. Let's see if she starts up here. And then I got these lights to work too in the front. Let's see, probably put the choke on. Choke's right there. This pipe over here has an exhaust leak, but I can't fix that unless you get a different header. Try to fix it later, but we'll see if she moves here. Here we go. This thing's pretty fun, actually. I like the riding position on this thing. So far, so good. Idling pretty decent. Should we see if reverse works? Whoa. So you pull on that lever and then you pull up on that, and that's reverse. Reverse definitely works. Woohoo! Back into forward. take her down the road here. Alright, so far so good. Not too bad. The light came out again. Not too bad. A little noisy on the top end, but I think that's just the way these are. The Honda 250Xs have a little tick on the top end. She runs good, has power. Lots of power. Pretty fast for a little 250. Plastic came off right here a little bit. Going too fast, looks like. Oh yeah, the bolt came out right there. It's pulled right out, so we'll get that back in. Everything else looks good though. Everything else looks like it stayed together. Not leaking any oil or anything. Still good to go there. Awesome. A little tough to wheelie this thing. Alright, well that wraps up the video on the 1988 Honda 250X. We ended up fixing the head on it, so no more leaks. And it doesn't sound too bad. Sounds pretty good. There's a little tick, like I said, in the top end, but I think all these Hondas, these older Hondas, have that little tick. It's a pretty common problem. It smokes a little bit, so maybe it needs some rings eventually, but it's not too bad. It has good power, and I tried to wheelie it a couple times. If I sat further back in the seat, I might be able to do it, but just need some practice. But yeah, pretty fun quad. I've never ridden one of these before, so it's pretty fun riding it for the first time. More to come on this quad, and hope the guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Till next time, we are out.